Hey, how's it in the name of Christ? How you doing? It's your girl Cranky. Karabo. Karabo. It's Karabo. Oof. I hope you're good. I hope you're peachy. I hope you're stellar. I hope you're in a neat little bunch. If you're not, welcome to the party. That appears to be the general state of me. So, welcome to my party. Okay. Let me just put some caveats out there. Ooh, it's cold today as well. It's been raining, but anyway, whatever. Let me just put some caveats out there. Please kindly look out for my captions. They're not always accurate. They sometimes use a small g for God. And they are misspelled, all that jazz. Like there's like all different kinds of weird stuff. I don't have time to edit them, but God willing in the future, I will be enabled to achieve a better goal in that regard. And then up next is my, I'm very potentially wearing app makeup. If I am, you will know, because it's gonna be like on my face. And bouncing off and on. I'm not shape-shifting. If not, you'll also know. And then I have this like segment, I'm only human after all. I'm only human after all. I'm only human, na 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 na. Yeah, I don't want to labor on this today because like, yeah, I've got a lot of frustrating heartbreak. I don't even know what in the world is going on. Anyway, whatever, yeah, I'm doing this in order to blush my cheeks because I want people to see that I'm only human. And that if you prick me, I bleed. I've got blood in my body. So if you exsanguinate it, I will probably die. Anyway, whatever, boom. I hope it works. If it doesn't, I don't know. Another day is another day is another day. Proper, like, yeah. Anyway. Okay, guys. Yeah. Shoo, like, yeah, like, you know what, y'all? I am scared for you. People of the world that don't know God, I am so afraid for you. I am so afraid for you. You know, people are weird, guys. Like the things they do and how they react to regret. It's just ridiculous. And not for me, I like to say, and you've heard me say it before, that my spiritual gifting is very burdensome because I see stuff, random stuff, and especially if it's stuff against me. And sometimes it shocks the living daylights out of me because I don't expect that to be a thing. Like there's a hot water bottle by my feet and it feels good. And I'm busy shuffling my feet around it, so if I'm moving a bit, it's only because of that. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I just burped. Yeah, a regret of the past. You know, when people happen upon witchcraft, they try to correct regret or they try to instill restoration using witchcraft and the like, sometimes it's just exhausting. Like, imagine knowing somebody from long ago, right, and never imagining that you would ever see them again because they were just like a one-hit wonder in your life. They were there for a very brief patch and you didn't even think that they were looking at you, but they were actually laboring on you, and they followed you around because they remembered your name, and so they googled it, they searched it, and a hit came up. They then find something of yours, and then they just start to like surveil the living daylights out of you. When I was at Wits, there was this guy that, so when I was dating, my ex-boyfriend was starting to pull stunts in the relationship. I was happy until I stopped being happy. And I noticed that he was basically very comfortable trying to imagine that I'm not going anywhere. He was acting like I was not going anywhere. And I was worldly, so I, in my heart, told myself, Wadala, you're playing games, little dude, because I'm gonna leave you for another guy. In my heart, I was thinking, I'm gonna leave you for another guy with you sitting around thinking that I'm not going anywhere. I was happy with my ex until I wasn't, and during the time when I was happy, I would never have looked at any other guy. Like, I was gonna be ride or die all the way through and through to the end if he did not start pulling stunts on me. So I basically allowed myself to wander. I allowed my eye to wander around because my ex was pulling stunts on me, and this was literally just 1 year into the relationship. Okay, we were together for 5 years and he was already messing up quite a lot. I like to say that relationship lasted 4.5 years too long because I was supposed to leave very early, but I stayed, right? So me wandering my eye around, I then started to make a decision to essentially humor somebody that I had noticed was noticing me. Like, you know, when there's somebody in the environment that you're at that's always just gawking at you, staring, but you are not interested. You can tell that they're crushing, but you don't care. Okay? Yeah. And then you make a decision to look at them more deeper, like with a little bit more concentration, and you realize that they're actually cute. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, when I was at Wits, there was a fellow student in the part-time classes, right? So basically people who work and study at the same time. Yeah, a young man, like he looked like he could have been my boyfriend's age, alright? Give or take, older by a couple of years, younger by a couple of years. Nah, probably not. He just looked like he was my boyfriend's age, just a peer. Anyway, whatever. So this guy, he had these big eyes, like a bit of a yellow bone. And with those big eyes of his, he used to like always just stare at me, and I found it kind of creepy. So I used to ignore him. I used to ignore the living daylights out of him. And I had seen him around for a couple of years. So I was a part-time student as at that stage a couple of years, and I had been in various of the same classes with him because we were both doing BComs. So we were in the same classes, we were in comp maths together, accounting, ecos, information systems, insurance and risk management. We were in the same classes together. And so I would see him year on year, and year on year, he was just that ogling guy. He was always just staring. Okay, he also used to arrive quite late a lot of times for lectures, and it made me realize that he was busy, very, very busy. Either he worked far, or he just could not quite get out of work fast enough. Okay, so he would literally rock up. Sometimes it would be like, you should have just stayed home, dude, or not home, but you should have just gone home and contacted a student to find out what happened. The way that he would rock up so late, but the thing about Wits is that if you did not pitch at most of your lectures, you didn't make due performance, and if you didn't make DP, you could not write exams. So I guess that's why he used to pitch, just so he could sign his name on that roster. Anyway, whatever, yeah, so that Ogie, upon arriving, as late as he would arrive, he used to sit very high up, almost like by himself, okay? The lecture room would be filled with students more or less towards the bottom of the lecture hall, and he would be among the solitary souls at the top up, at the back there, because he would always just sneak in conspicuously while the lecture had advanced. At the back either, so he did not disturb the piece by insisting on going all the way down. So he would just kind of sit up there, and sometimes during breaks, if at all he was already there in the middle of breaks or whatever, I would pan my head around the room, and then he'd just be staring, and I used to find it so awkward the way that he was a starer. But anyway, whatever, I was like, okay, dude has a crush. That's just the nature of being a person, and also a woman. Every so often there's gonna be a dude that's out here hinting that he likes you by just staring. Anyway, whatever, this dude, alright, when my ex and I were going through the troubled waters, whatever you want to call it, and I was decidedly really just interested in moving on to another person, a type establishment thing, he made me notice the guy. Remember I told you guys that he used to rock up quite a bit late, so I sometimes just attention was on him when he would pop into lectures all that late, and I started to notice his especially physical structure, like his body. He was very well built. He had a beautiful physique, okay? He was a well-built man. His height was nothing to write home about, really. It was more or less my ex's height. I'm a tall woman already, 1.75 meters tall. That guy could have been taller than me, maybe by an inch or something, right? He wasn't exactly towering like a basketball player, but he had a very, very beautiful physique. And so I started to notice his body. It was really just a physical thing that was happening over there. I started to notice his physical body and those beautiful legs, like he had just this beautiful manly body. Anyway, whatever, as he was coming and going, he used to not only rock up late for lectures, but a lot of times he would leave before they were over. Like, he was just very engaged in whatever he was involved in outside of school. He was trying to get his degree, but it was really hard, okay, for him to do that. It's raining outside, guys, so if it starts to get all loud, I'll go louder as the rain gets loud. But I'm not in the mood even of talking about this, because this guy, I did not expect this. Like, Anyway, whatever. Yeah, so this Ogie, I used to see him a lot coming and going, either coming in late or leaving early. And I would just look at him, and I would look at, what made me look at him was the fact that he was always looking at me. I would not have just developed an interest in that guy because I was not attracted to him very typically. Like I told you, like he was a handsome guy. Hey guys, Yazzie, the Lord has been warning me about this dude like for so long. Like, for me, it's like he was just so far away. I didn't imagine that he tailed me like that. Like, there are other people that when they tailed me with sorcery, I can see where it was coming from. But this dude, like, anyway, yeah, I wasn't attracted to this guy until I became attracted to him. Okay, was he cute? He was, but like, he was kind of ignorable. I don't even know how to. He was kind of ignorable until you stopped ignoring him, and then he became kind of relevant. Anyway, whatever. So, given that I wasn't initially attracted to him, yeah, my eventual attraction to him was inspired by the fact that I was just responding to the pain in my heart with my boyfriend at the time, and how he's taken me for granted. And I was like, hey, there's people who like me, alright? And I knew that guy liked me. So I started to look at him with that eye, and upon noticing what a beautiful physique he had, I then, like, you know, I started to, like, low-key crush on him because I liked his body. And on top of that, I was physically attracted to that dude, like sexually. Yeah, he had a beautiful body, whatever. Moving on, that Ogie started, like, what little crush on his perfect body I had just grew horns and fangs and fur. It basically got really big. Like, it went from being, whoa, that guy's body, like, I could watch him come and I could watch him go, to, like, I had real strong feelings now, like, as in lots of feelings, as in chemistry is bouncing off the walls, as in earthquake and like, it became ridiculous, to a point where I was always thinking about him. My ex-boyfriend was in trouble, essentially. This guy would have 100% succeeded to knock my ex out of the way if he had actually stepped up and done something about the thing that was going on between us. He didn't, however, right? So my feelings became earthquakey and cataclysmic, and I started looking forward to going to lectures. Sometimes it would be a drag to drive to school after work, but this time around, like, it's like the crush I had at school motivated me to go to school, so I guess it was beneficial to a certain extent. It motivated me to get on that highway and go to school and not skip lectures and yeah, all that jazz. But sometimes I wouldn't see him because he was very busy, to a point where sometimes he would miss lectures. So I sometimes was disappointed, but it didn't matter. A type establishment thing. So that whole me crushing on him really heavily, to a point where I was always thinking about him even when I was with my boyfriend, right? It lasted a year with nothing happening. We did not know each other. We did not even greet each other. We were just like, he was just coming, like, just passing one another with, like, chemistry and vibes going and going and going. Yes, that's what's good. Alrighty. Did not know his name, nothing. I just knew that he drove some Mini Cooper, and his number plate was personalized, as in it was like short for, I guess, his full name, but I could not even figure out what his full name likely was. So anyway, cool beans and bananas, right? And then 1 year. Remember I told you that this thing lasted for a year. The following year, from when it is that I commenced this crush that became really feverish, we then were in the same class yet again, and the class was information systems, okay? And in information systems, there was a project that we had to do. 1 second, I need to blow my nose. Okay, I've blown my nose. Alrighty, in information systems, there was a project that we were made to do that was a group work thing. It was an assignment that was a group work thing. We had to basically work in groups, and did we assign our own groups, or were we assigned? It doesn't matter. We were put in groups, and I happened to end up in the same group as this guy. And on that day, he was at school, so miraculously, right? Yeah, and we then ended up in the same class. Not class, but we've always been in the same class, but in the same group for the assignment. And so because we all gathered together, there could have been like 6 of us or whatever. For me, it was just so exciting. Finally, like I was finally like, it's unfortunate. Like my ex-boyfriend he was still pulling stuff. That guy was in danger. My he was on shaky cold water very early on in the relationship. Like he's lucky, that guy. I don't even like to use the word lucky because I feel like his witchcraft warded off a lot of men. My ex's witchcraft, I feel like it warded off a lot of men because he saw that he was frustrating me, and I even threatened him one time on someone else. Like you think ukuthi mina ngiyindawo, or like, hey, be afraid, be very afraid. And so he decided in like that he's gonna vimba me with sorcery. I have a feeling that a lot of the reason why a lot of things were punyuga bampete in my life when it comes to romance was because my ex-boyfriend was busy with a whole bunch of sorcery. So it worked out really for my good. Romans 8:28. All things work out together for the good of them who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. My ex's witchcraft worked out because it blocked me from leaving him for yet another buffoon. Because it would later come true that many of the guys that I crushed on while I was dating my ex were buffoons. Anyway, spiritually, yeah, they were spiritual manipulators. They were into witchcraft. As the black men in South Africa, black people in South, guys, the situation is dire. It's bad. It's bad, yo. Like, it's bad. Anyway, this guy, we got introduced. Hi, I'm Karabo. Let's say his name was Tato, right? Yeah. This guy, anyway, yeah, he was. I don't know if that guy was colored or what, but his surname was English, but his first name was, what do you call this? His first name was black, like being called Latoya. No, not Latoya. Sorry, like being called Karabo. I don't know, like give me an English surname. Karabo Thomas. Like he was like, yeah, he had a surname like that. His name was like, would have been like being called Karabo Thomas. So he outwardly physically looked black, but I think he was colored. Because I believe that one of his parents was of course white or colored. Maybe he was a mix of colored and black because he looked super duper black. Not super duper black, he just, like, if you looked at him you would not automatically assume he was colored, but you would assume that he was a yellow boned black guy, right? Yeah, type thing. So I don't think it was a mix of black and white with him. I think it was a mix of colored and black because his surname was a white surname with a black name, but he also had a middle name that was white. So essentially like me being called Karabo Karen Thomas. Yeah, Karabo Karen Thomas. So if I had just used Karen Thomas, you would think I'm a white girl or a colored girl on paper. And the only thing that would give away the fact that potentially I might be a mixed girl is if I put Karabo down. So this guy's name was like Karabo Karen Thomas. So I said his name was Tato, right? I gave him the name Tato. So his name was like Tato. His full name, even on like, you know, what do you call the forms that we had to fill, not forms, what do you call this thing? The class register, right? The first name was the English one. Yeah, so it would have been, let's say Patrick. I don't like that name. I'm sorry. Did I hit a nerve there? Let's say Bradley. Yeah, let's use Bradley. Okay, Bradley Tato Simpson. Yeah. Like his name was like Bradley Tato Simpson. So from that you could gauge that the Simpson here is probably the dad, because that's usually how it works, right? Unless of course the mom was the one that raised them, and there was like issues there and whatnot, but he was raised with like a black name because somebody just had to have him have a black name or whatever. So his name was like Bradley Tato Simpson. Bradley Tato Simpson. All of this is made up, but his real name was like that though. It was a combination of white and black names. Bradley Tato Simpson. And however, he preferred to use the name Tato. He used his black name to introduce himself to us, and his number plate was also an acronym of his black name. It was not an acronym of his English name, right? And his English name was a biblical name. It was one of his English name is one of the names of God. So he was probably raised Christian. Like, yes, you guys, I'm just exhausted. Yes, well, I'm tired. I'm tired with people involved in the craft of darkness that is just so incredibly abusive of people that don't even expect it. Hey, like proper. Anyway, so Bradley Tato Simpson. half colored, half black, or half white, half black, but I think it's half colored, half black type setup thing. Herein lies this Bradley Simpson man, okay, that is obviously low-key spazzing on his sister. We then end up working in the same project in information systems, IS, right? With yet another friend of mine, like a dude that became one of my biggest friends, really. Advits also broke my heart. Like, I don't understand what in the world is going on. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, I got really tight with that guy because of that project. So am I grateful? Because the friendship was great. However, he broke my heart. So maybe it was ideal that he should have just joined another group. Anyway, whatever. That dude hurt me. We had such a nice relationship, man. Ish, yes, like it. Moving on. That one was a friend. Anyway, so I developed a nice friend. I developed friendships from that assignment that were very, very strong with those people. Well, some of them, especially the dude from Congo, right? Who ended up breaking my heart. Like, yo. And there was nothing romantic there with the Congolese dude, just good peoples, you know? And next thing you go slap people with witchcraft. You know, guys, I don't understand. Hey, man, people in this world, I'm tired. Anyway, so here, Bradley Simpson. Let's talk about Bradley Simpson or Tato Simpson, okay? Tato, right, introduces himself as Tato to the whole group, the black name, type establishment thing, and we officially meet and everything, handshakes, and then we plan the project, blah blah, wada, fish paste. Lots of vibes, energy between the two of us, it's clear, and now I'm super excited because I'm working with Bradley, or Thomas, not Thomas, what do I call him? Tato. I'm working with Bradley Thomas Simpson in the project. And so I got his email address. I got, what do you call this? We all just ended up communicating basically on group chat. And on group chat on email, he was so quiet. I wished he had been a lot more open. And again, here is a man that obviously is spazzing hard over me. So come on, you've got my email address. Send me a private email. You know, you now not only have my email address, but you also have my number. Like, because we had to exchange numbers, right? We had to meet on Saturdays to do the assignment, to discuss who's doing what and whatnot and what have you. So now you've got my contact details, dude. And you didn't even have to get them in an awkward way where you're like, okay, can I have your number? Like, you just have them because you're part of the group. Like, we're part of the same assignment team. I'm out here hoping that this dude is gonna contact me. I was thoroughly going to leave my boyfriend for that guy. I was going to do it. Unang bora. So thank God that did not suffice, because who knows what under heaven extra soul ties I would have garnered for myself, because I would come to learn that that guy was involved in some lots of stuff that made me very uneasy. Anyway, cool. So here is Bradley Thomas. No, not Bradley Thomas, Bradley Simpson. Bradley Tato Simpson being part of the group, right? We meet then on one Saturday at Wits, at the old grandstand lecture halls. They give us an opportunity to study there, to meet there, right? And throughout the whole time, there's just this like energy between the two of us. Like, everybody could pick it up. Like, there was nobody there that did not know that there was some funny energy going on between us, right? It was weird type setup thing. Anyway, whatever. So I then, the crush that I have on him is now massive. It got massive throughout the year. And in that group, I got to learn, because we introduced one another to one another as we were first meeting. You know, I'm Karabo, Hlongwane, I work for MTN, this is what I do, this is what I do. So I came to learn that the reason why the guy was so inundated, why he was so busy, why he was always late, why he was always leaving early too, was because he ran his own thing. He had I believe, regular 9 to 5, but he was alongside the 9 to 5 working on a business. He was trying to basically break out of the 9 to 5 environment. I think that's what he was basically doing. He had a regular job and his business required him to invest quite a lot of his time after hours. And that's why he, like I said, was always late or always leaving early. Yeah. So for me, I got even more attracted to him because I was like, oh my goodness, he's ambitious, he's an entrepreneur. And on top of that, he is working on his degree, he's studying. This is my kind of man. I imagine that I had met a bird of a feather, because one of the things that I was struggling with my ex-boyfriend was his lack of ambition. Like I was really struggling with a lack of ambition in my ex, and I was also really struggling with the fact that I'm an academic. I was an academic, I still am, right? And my ex wasn't one. And I did not know how in the world the future would look with me being an academic as the woman in the relationship, with my man not loving books as I do. I just imagined my ex just fading in the background of my girth as I got older, as we got older, as I acquired my degrees. I just imagined him just be paling, starting to get smaller and smaller in comparison to me, and it was problematic. I started to, when I was younger, I used to date because I had a crush on a guy and he was cute, but as I got older, I started to want somebody with whom I was actually compatible in all respects, academically, career-wise, ambition-wise, dream space. I wanted somebody with whom we could both just relate on the same life endeavors. And so I started dating my ex when I was working in a call center at Nedbank. You date a dude that's cute and that's it. But then now I was an actual professional. I was a project manager at MTN, and I was on a professional track that would only go from height to height and strength to strength. And I was getting mature. I was growing as well as a person. I went from being a fresh out of high school type young adult to now a serious professional. And I started to really want more in a man. So, like I said, my ex was on hot water. He was gonna get bride on a rotisserie. Is that crazy? I was gonna leave him for that guy. There are so many men that I would have left my ex for, like a lot. Like that dude, his witchcraft worked. I'm just saying, his witchcraft worked, because dudes acted a fool all up in my grill that were obviously interested, and I believe it was his witchcraft that warded them off. Anyway, whatever. So this dude was, for me, perfect. I was like, the situation that I was in as well. I was studying while working, and it was very strenuous, but I was pushing anyway. I was self-starting. I was a self-starter. I was self-motivated. I was self-inspired. And this guy was like that. And for me, it was like, this is it. This is perfect. Like, so whatever little crush I had on him, it became even worse. Like, it got even more ridiculous. All right. It already got ridiculous with little knowledge about him. Just from seeing him around, I was on some, oh my goodness, he's here. And I was spazzing. And then I got to know him, and it just got worse. That's what I'm trying to explain to you guys, right? Yeah, so now I got to know a little bit about him, now that he was working with us, now that we were all working together on this project. And then unfortunately for me, or fortunately, really, like, can't really gauge here what was profitable or not, okay? Fortunately or unfortunately, this man stopped pitching. He stopped pitching to not only classes, like literally across the board. He stopped pitching to classes across the board. All of them that I was with him in, right? And he also stopped coming to meetings. However, he did not let us know, like meetings for the assignment. And I remember thinking, this is disappointing. Like, this guy, why is he being irresponsible? He's one of those, like, weakest link in the team. Like, are we about to get a failing grade out in these streets because some like buffoon is not rocking up pitching? I was basically full of underestimation, but there was no way under heaven that I was going to go on right ahead and underestimate this dude because I had a big fat crush on him. So, seeing as it was the project that we were doing over here, I made a decision to contact him. Was it via text, call, or email? And I think I sent him a text message. Yeah, I sent him a text message on some, hey, we missed you this Saturday for assignment. What's going on? And I also have noticed that you haven't been in class. Are you cool? Are you like, are you good peoples? Because the team is wondering like what's going on. And he was like, oh my goodness, I actually intended to let you guys know, but it like slipped through the cracks. I am inundated. I'm out of my mind with a lot of work, and my business is really growing. Basically wings, it's growing fangs and fur. And so because of the growth that I am in right now, I made a decision to deregister the rest of the year. I very potentially might come back next year or the year thereafter, but right now I can't focus on both things. I can't do both Wits and my business, and given that my business is currently, it appears to be booming, I need to focus on that. So he deregistered the rest of that particular academic year, and he didn't let us know. He just deregistered. He didn't let any, like, I guess he expected the lecturer to let us know that, hey, Simpson is not going to be part of your team. You were one short, or yeah, whatever. Like, maybe I don't know why he did not let us know, but like, he didn't let us know. But I liked him. I had feelings. I had a crush, and I was cheating with my heart on my ex. So therefore, I was gonna go and pursue this matter further, because I thought that this thing was going to result in, I guess, me ending up with the man of my dreams, or the man that I imagined was the man of my dreams. Understand, at this stage I'm not saved, so these are things that happen in the hearts and minds of unborn again people. They're unfaithful. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, so this dude makes it clear that he has deregistered from the school because his business is out here thriving and booming. I get really sad. I get disappointed on some. Oh goodness, like, whoa, that one just slipped right underneath my feet. Like, it's a rug that was pulled and my teeth got broken and everything. I wanted to let it go. I really, really, really wanted to let it go. I wanted to know more about this dude. So I made a decision to not contact him. I catfished him. I looked him up on Facebook, right? I wanted to know more about him. I wanted to find out if he had a girlfriend or a wife, because why wasn't he pursuing me despite the fact that he was as interested as he was in me? You know what I mean? Yeah, so I did not want ukupapa, ukubajaji, whatnot, so I decided to like basically cyber stalk him. I searched for him on Facebook, and I found him. It was easy to find him because his name was the full name on Facebook, and there's literally just one such guy on Facebook. His whole full name was what did I say? His whole name was Bradley Tato Simpson, and it's hard to, like, it was a rare name because it was a combination of black name and colored, and black name and white surname. Yeah, and also one white name. Like a white name, a black name, and a white surname. You're not going to find that a lot. The same combination or permutation of that same exact one a lot, just across the board. Like, his name was just unique that way. You're not going to find a lot of Bradley Tato Simpsons. Maybe Bradley Simpson, maybe Tato Simpson, maybe, yeah, you get my point. Yeah, but not Bradley Tato Simpson. That was unique. Yeah, so it was easy to find him. And his Facebook profile picture was him with a bunch of guys in his profile pic. Okay, his profile. I click on it, right? And my heart sank, guys. It sank. My heart sank. I click on his Facebook profile and my heart sinks. Remember, I'm clicking on him from a vantage point where I'm using my own account, right? My own Facebook account. I don't want him knowing that I'm cyber stalking him. So I'm not about to ask him to be a friend, because he's going to be like, yo, this chick is following me from vids. What in the world, right? But I'm using my own account to basically research what's going on with him. I click on him. My heart sinks. His profile was not 100% private. So some of the photos in his album were available to people who were not his friends. And his like wall and everything, like some things were available. However, I could tell that there was stuff that was closed behind private viewership, in the sense that only his friends could see stuff. So I go through whatever I can go through with limited access, given that I was not his friend, and I was not about to ask him to be a friend either. Okay, yeah. As at that stage, you did not know who was looking at your stuff. I don't know if Facebook has changed that, but I think it's still the same. Like, you can anonymously just, peruse a person's account on Facebook without them knowing that you're staring at them. Okay, cool beans and bananas. So I go in his profile, and guys, my heart sank into my stomach because I had such big feelings for this guy. And this is like, I was working hard to leave my ex. I was working hard to... Was I going to cheat on my ex with that guy? No, I wasn't going to cheat. I was going to break up with him and then go be with that other guy. That's what I was intending on doing. So yeah, dude, you were on hot water, Njefela, the moment you started acting like I was going nowhere. Anyway, what's going on with my computer? Please don't start from scratch a process, because I would just be so... oh goodness, I'd be so upset. I'd be so upset, because there is like a process. What in the world? I'm sorry. I hope it's just a blanked out screen, because it's been sleeping for like a very long time. 1 minute. Okay, my computer was temporarily blanked out, because I would have been so upset, because I would have had to start from scratch with something. Okay, cool. Now that we are satisfied that our computer did not just pass away, let's continue with this discussion. Yeah, this guy, yes, I come across his Facebook profile. I find him. I go in it, and whatever little is available to outsiders makes my heart sink. I go into his pics, and the guys that he's hanging with in his profile pic, you know how a profile pic is just this tiny little thing that you can't see properly? However, when you blow it up, there's like suspicious activity going on. Guys, I click on these, whatever photos I can access in his album, and as I scroll through them, like, I was worried that this guy probably had a stable relationship. He had a girlfriend, but he was allowing himself to, just like me, peruse these streets, look basically at other eye candy. Like he allowed himself to wander out because he was just being a typical worldly man. Just not faithful with his eyes to the woman in his life. I was expecting to see some gorgeous woman, you know, some chick that was always just all up in his grill in those photos. If at all I was gonna find a girlfriend, but it's not a woman that I found. It wasn't women that I found. It was not, guys, the photos of this guy on Facebook, he was always just hanging out with gay men, and there was one in particular that was prominent in almost every one of his photos. These men were obvious. Like, how do you know they're gay, Karabo, from a photo? Come on. Like, if Somizi were to take a photo without wearing makeup, like, I'm not speaking of Somizi that's where it's not Somizi in drag, but Somizi, the regular Somizi, even without drag, even without putting lipstick on, even without him talking and mannerisming, with you just having a still, you can tell that Somizi's gay. You can tell. It's just a way they pose, a way they gesture, the way that women take photos, guys, you know? There's a way we do things. There's a way we take pics. There's a way women, you know, the posture, and also how we tilt our heads, and, you know, just, you can tell that Somizi's gay without knowing him from just scrolling through his Instagram, without even going into the section of section of photos of his where he is in drag, or where he's wearing makeup. Even when he is like with just like small dreaded mohawk, you know, the kind of hairstyle that would be fit for a guy. Not necessarily the weaves, you know how Somizi likes to rock weaves, like little mohawk weaves as well. No, I'm speaking regular looking, like hairstyles that you would find on men, and outfits that you would find on men. So not drag, and no makeup, but like, you can tell that this here is a gay man, and it would have been or effeminate. Yeah, it would have been okay if it was just one person of this nature in these photos. One person. Guys, I'm a straight woman, and for the larger majority of my life, I have the men that I've known that have been straight, the larger majority of them, the huge majority of them, if not the comprehensive number of them, never mind majority, they've always just felt very awkward, uncomfortable, and some kind of way in the climate of gay men. It's just the way that it's always been. The gay guys that I've known always hung out with us. They always hung out with women or each other. They always hung out with each other or with women, and they found it was always awkward and uncomfortable to be around straight men. And straight men, for our sake, for women's sake, right, would not be mean to them or whatever, but they certainly would not want to just like spend 2 hours with them. They would not want to go on a holiday with them. Yeah, that's just the way that it was, at least back then. I don't know if things have changed now. Yeah, black hair straight men have apprehension about BFFing, best friending, or tight buddying gay guys. They call it homophobia. I don't know what you want to call it, but they just have a thing about that. And I don't know if it's still a thing, because I've been out of the market for a minute in terms of relations, human relations, people, because my life sucks and it's weird, it's anomalous, it's strange. Yeah, but this guy was just, yo guys, I remember like when I was growing up, I used to love this show called Will and Grace, and from Will and Grace I knew that there were two types of gay men. There was Jack, and then there was Will. There was Jack, and then there was Will. Jack is Somizi. Jack is the flamingo. He is the flamboyant, outwardly, obviously gay dude with the mannerisms and everything. He's girly, do you understand? And then there's Will, that'll make a woman fall head over heels in love with him, right? Yeah, Will, that'll make a woman fall in love with him, and then when you start to tell a guy that you like him, you have feelings for him, he's then like, I'm gay. Because you never would have been able to see it coming. Yeah, Will and Grace made me come to a conclusion that there are two types of gay men, Will and Jack. And Michael Scofield from Prison Break is like Will. Do you understand what I'm saying? A man that is that is gay, but you would never know. You would never know until he makes it clear that I like men. And I was out here in my mind scratching my head on some, is this guy like Will from Will and Grace? Like, oh guys, I was just like out of my mind. I was like, is this dude Will from Will and Grace? Type of gay man, not to, basically you would never know. And he's got a very strong relationship with women. He knows how to be, like, Will's best friend was Grace. If anything, Grace in Will and Grace, how it is that she and Will became best friends was because Grace was spazzing hard over Will. She was crushing on Will, and Will like basically let her down gently on some I'm gay, and then the two of them ended up being friends. So I remember thinking, am I like Grace out here in these streets? Am I falling head over heels in love with a guy that is, you know, I don't even think he was in the closet. Like, am I out here spazzing over a gay dude? Like, what in the world? Like, my heart sank because I already had such massive feel. Like, I never would have cyberstalked the guy. I never would have cyberstalked him if I didn't have such strong feelings for him. And that for what? What's with the energy? What's with the effort? What's with all that investment? The photographs of this dude in every last, and it made sense, you know, like gay men historically, when I was on the come up, they just had a reputation for being really good in business, and they also had a reputation for being so much better at ambition than straight men. It was just the way it was. Yeah, so his ambition and all of these things about him that I was like, oh, they're perfect, they're falling into place, they're falling into line. When it turned out that he was what I suspected to be gay, I was like, oh duh, no wonder he's so focused with school and education, he's gay. Oh guys, I am out here confused out of my mind, but my feelings are telling me be in denial, deny, Karabo deny. Yeah, so here it is that Chiki's now trying to deny, right? The photographs of this man on Facebook, the few that I could see, okay, were of him and gay guys, not just one gay guy, and very overtly gay guys. Like, he was Will, but he was hanging out with Jack. He was Will, but he was hanging out with Jack doppelgangers, like a multiplier of Jacks. Like 4, 5, or 7 Jacks were always in his photos. He was the straight-looking gay guy hanging out with Abosomizi. And you could tell in those photos that was what was going on. And there was one particular Somizi in that photo, in those photos of his, that was popping up literally almost everywhere in his photographs. And for me, it was like, maybe that's the boyfriend, maybe that's the man that he's with, type thing, because he pops out a lot. And then they were always at like these. He looked like he was a whiskey. He looked like in his pics, he was always carrying the kind of alcohol that looked like it could have been whiskey or brandy, like, you know, expensive taste. And he was always rocking, like, he was well dressed. That's another thing. Oh guys. And Vitz. Another thing, I have a thing about men who can put clothing on their bodies, and this guy, I was not only attracted to his physical body, so he was obviously a gym buff, right? But then I also loved his suits. His pants, like, he was well dressed. His shoes were always matching his belt. He was well dressed, and his shirt was always crisp. His shirts were always crisp, and he carried this leather bag. You know, yeah, like, he did not have a regular backpack like the rest of these heterosexual dudes walking around in class. He carried a very expensive looking leather bag that had, like, you know, layers in it, like, you know, shelves inside. Yo guys, this dude, I was so attracted to him. He was like the perfect guy because he was the alpha male I wanted. He was that guy who could put a beautiful suit on, who knows how to wear a good shoe. He used to smell good. His shirts were crisp. Guys, you know, I used to love the movie Clueless. It was my favorite movie. I loved it so much that I could verbatim repeat every last word that show, that movie, that was in that movie. I watched it so much that I knew the script, essentially. And there is this one scene in Clueless where Cher is out here spazzing over the new dude in the school, and he's like Will, right? His name was, how could I forget? I used to know that movie like verbatim, word for word. But there's a new dude that starts at Cher's school, and he's so sweet, he's so kind, and even the usage of words, the way that he is able to just, you know, yeah, you get it. The way that this man was so able to talk to Cher. Cher thought that he was hitting on her. He just knew all the right words to speak, and he brought her flowers and stuff like that. And one time they even spent time at her house, right? They spent time at her house, and he brought like chocolates and everything, and she thought that it was a date, but like it wasn't a date. And this dude did not confess to Cher that he was gay, but like when Cher was out here trying to like slip her foot underneath his pants, he stands up and he's like, Cher, I gotta go. What was his name? I forgot. Yeah, and then the next day she speaks with Dion on some. I thought he was totally I thought he was totally into me. I'm totally bugging or whatever. And then Dion says to her, he does like to shop. No. Murray, who is Dion's boyfriend, says as they're having this conversation in the car, right? Murray is like, your boy Christian, his name was Christian. Murray is like, your boy Christian is a cake boy. Murray is like, your boy Christian is a cake boy. And Cher is like, huh? Cake boy? And then he describes all these other terms. And then ultimately Murray is like, gay. Your boy Christian is gay. And then Cher is like, no way, not even. And then Dion looks at her on some, he does like to shop, Cher. And the boy can dress. This guy gave me Christian vibes from Clueless. And I felt like Cher. I was on some, no way. Not even. And Dion, or the tantamount of Dion in my voice, is like, he does like to shop, Karabo. And the boy can dress. I thought about everything. I thought about his perfect body. I thought about his perfect pants that were perfectly ironed, his crisp shirts, his bag that he was carrying, for school, his shoes, his everything, even the fact that he drove a Mini Cooper that he personalized the number plate of. His ambition, like a lot of times it was always gay men that were like 10,000 steps ahead of straight guys when it came to ambition. And I was just like, yo, Karabo, this guy has got all the signs of gay men. He is Will. He's Will. That's why he ignored you. That's why he's, anyway, but I was in denial. Just like Cher, I was like, no way, not even. He does like to shop, Cher. And the boy can dress. Anyway, here it is. I'm dealing with a potential Christian, right? From the movie Clueless. But I had to know because I really like this guy. But like, I had all the evidence. Like, evidence was just like gawking at me. His friendship circle was made up of obviously gay guys. His friendship circle was made up of men that were obviously gay. That was his friendship circle. And so what I made a decision to do, because Karabo, no way, not even. I'm at this point like Cher in Clueless. So I decided that I'm gonna make like catfish. I needed to become a friend of this guy on Facebook. And no, I had to become a friend of this dude on Facebook and confirm my suspicions, because I liked him so much. Karabo. I should have just left it at that stage, right? So I go further with this particular situation, right? I create a profile using Boris Kodjoe's photo. Karabo, the guy probably knew who Boris Kodjoe was. I went and I grabbed a photo of a ripped Boris Kodjoe by a swimming pool. Alright? You know how hot Boris Kodjoe was like back then. He probably still is to this day. I use Boris Kodjoe's photo as my profile pic. I create a whole new profile. Like, I can literally create a Facebook account. I use Boris Kodjoe's photo as a profile pic. And then I ask for friendship. I then wait, and within 24 hours, this guy's accepted my friendship request. Within 24 hours, this dude has accepted my no. Make no mistake. Not only did I, what do you call this? This guy, like, his friend, like, there was just so many signs. Like, okay, so I created the Boris Kodjoe profile. And then I went and I actively asked to be friends with some of his friends on Facebook. In other words, like, proper, I kept on clicking on photograph on the friends that were his friends, ne? Guys, and so many of those friends were obviously gay men, like gay pics, like men that like were obviously gay. Like, you get my point. Like, just gay guys, like posing here with a tongue out, winking type establishment thing, and that's like the profile pic of this Okie. Something like 65 to 70% of his friendship, of his friends on Facebook were observably gay. They were observably gay. And I went and I literally made friends out of all of these guys, as many as you could. I created a believable profile for myself. Yeah, stalkery vibes, right? Psychopath, like, anyway. Yeah, I create a profile that is believable. And then after making friends with his friends that are gay, the recommendations of other gay guys all over Facebook just come flooding at me. And also, the number of friendship requests that I received just from using Boris Kojo's photo, I was feeling insecure now, lacking confidence. I was like, as a beautiful young black woman, I don't get this many people just friend requesting me just based on my profile pic on Facebook. Why don't I get as many guys flooding to me with my own profile? Anyway, whatever. I got so many friendship requests on that gay profile. So many. And not only did I get so many friendship requests, I also got DM'd so much. By people on some, hi there, how you doing, sexy? Yo, guys, I was like... Anyway, I would ignore these DMs, okay? I would accept the friendship request because I'm building a profile. And once I had a decent size of friends, like maybe 200 or whatever, that's when I then asked him as a friend. And he accepted within 24 hours. And when I went into his Facebook profile, it finished me off. Like, now I was seeing overseas trips with this group of gay men. Like, hey, guys, straight guys don't go on overseas trips. They don't go to Paris. They don't go to Japan. They don't go to Tokyo. They just don't, not with a whole bunch of out flamingo homosexuals. They don't. So I was like, this guy, he spends all this time with gay men. There isn't even, like, his social life is with these gay men. He does not have straight friends. Not based on his Facebook. I'm inside his profile. I see everything. He is not straight. I came to a conclusion that this guy is gay. But, like, I was still in denial. He does like to shop share, and the boy can dress. No way. Not even. I'm still in denial. I'm in denial, but I've accepted. I'm in denial, but I've agreed that he is gay. But I wanted to know for myself. I wanted to be certain. Because the thing that was going at the back of my mind was, but why was he eyeing me like that? Why was he ogling at me like that? Like, what was with the chemistry that him and I shared? What was that thing that him and I were doing? Like, what is going on there? How is this dude... Like, come on. Is it really like Christian and Cher? You know how Christian gave Cher a little flower in the classroom? In Clueless, I did not know what in the world was going on. So I needed to find out. So I go and I grab that Boris Kojo profile and I DM him on some, hey there, how you doing, blah, blah, whatever. Basically, Yamoshela, right? He didn't respond. Of course, he didn't respond. He wasn't that kind of guy. Gay or not, he was not about to just be shellaed by some stranger on the internet. Plus, on top of that, I think he might have known who Boris Kojo was. And so when he saw my profile pic, he was like, oh, what's going on? No, this person. So I did not get to confirm if he's gay or not from me DMing him. So I made a decision to just basically let him know. Like, I liked this guy so much. I was feeling him so much. I liked this dude so much that I was like, he's not at school. I'm not going to be embarrassed by seeing him again. I want to know what's going on here. I like him. So I decided that I'm going to tell him. I make a decision that I'm going to let this guy know that I'm feeling him. He's left now. Witz, he hasn't been there now. Been maybe like a couple of weeks now. And I make a decision that I am going to let him know. I told him that I basically wanted to find out if this guy was gay. I wanted him to tell me himself, like Will telling Grace that I'm gay. Like Christian, you know, did Christian tell Cher that he's gay? No, it was Murray that was like, your boy Christian is a cake boy, right? I wanted him to basically just kind of hint to me, let me know that I am into dudes. I'm sorry, I think you're a beautiful woman, you're smart, I like you, but it's not that kind of party, no hard feelings. I wanted him to let me down the way that a gay guy would let a straight female friend that likes him down. I wanted him to let me down like that. I sent him a text message. I probably told him on SMS. Okay, I told him on SMS. I remember I was in the office. writing an SMS. I should have done it at home. Anyway, whatever. I write him an SMS and I tell him, I'm like, hey, how you doing? Ever since you left, it's been a minute, you know? Yeah, we miss you there at school. Anyway, I just wanted to put this out there that I think I like you. I like you. I like you. I'm in a relationship. I'm not trying to get with you or whatever, but I just wanted to like just put it out there that I got a crush. I've never, like, that was the first time in my life I ever did that. Ever. Like, I had never in my life ever told a guy that I like him. That was just not what I was into. Like, I was too proud to ever tell a guy I like him. I've liked a lot of guys before that just never knew. And they were never gonna find out unless they told me back. Yeah. Ha! First time experiment me like Karabo. That's what I'm doing. Experiment because, hey, these, you know, all the women who independent. Yeah, like proper. Rules are changing. I'm a feminist, yet to be born again, so I don't have any conviction about roles and how things should be. Like, men should pursue women, all that. Nah. I'm still in a random worldly mindset that women are gonna take power. So I decided that I'm gonna tell my crush that I like him. Women, you will burn. Like, don't do it, okay? Like, if a guy does not tell you, just leave him alone. Because you're taking away his opportunity to do what it is that men do. And when they feel overpowered in that regard, yeah, you might actually lose the opportunity of winning him over. Like, just wait. And if he never comes, it wasn't meant to be. Like, just let it go. Anyway, whatever. I tell this dude, and he comprehensively ignores me. Yo, guys, it felt so sour. Like, he ignored me. 24 hours progresses, and it's quiet, like crickets. 48 hours progresses. And after 48 hours progresses, I decide to send him another text message on some, I'm sorry if I bothered you or irritated you, or something along the lines of, I'm sorry if I made you uncomfortable. But like, yeah, I'm really sorry. Basically, I was apologizing for putting him in an awkward position. And then he responds. Then he responded. I think it was just out of a guilt. Yeah, you know what? He responds to me and says, "Hey, I'm not ignoring you. It's just surprising, and it's a lot, you know, to take in, and I'm still processing it. I was gonna get back to you." Yeah, that was his response. Was something along the lines of, "No. Don't feel uneasy. Don't apologize. Like, it's okay. It came to me as a shock." And I was just still processing it. I was going to respond. So my response was like, oh, okay then, at your leisure. And he never got back to me ever since then. So because of him basically like switching on and off like a hazard, like flickering like a light, telling me I'll get back to you and not. I was like, you know, this is too much. It's too taxing. Plus, I'm in a relationship. I don't care if it works out or not. So I don't care whether or not I'm fully invested in this particular relationship. Bottom line is, in and of myself, there's a lot of complications in my life, and this here is a complication I don't want. I don't want to feel insecure in the climate of a dude that's hot and cold. Plus, like, he's giving gay. He's giving, you know, yeah, he's giving funny things. He's giving a lot of funny, strange stuff. So let it go. So I made a decision to just let it go. I got over him. Over the next couple of weeks, months, I thought about him less and less. I never saw him pretty much ever again. Like, he never even came back the next year at school. It's like he left school altogether. Like, yeah. Anyway, I just let go. I let go and I left it at that. That's where that whole situation ended. He said he'd get back to me, he didn't. I stopped stalking him. I even forgot the credentials to log in to that Facebook account, the fake one, where I was catfishing him. I forgot, like, I just dumped all that. It didn't matter anymore. It was nothing. And, you know, I was on to the next one. Frankly, my ex-boyfriend was wreaking so much havoc in my life that I was actively out here like a periscope scanning this environment for a man to leave him for. Because I've told you guys in my previous videos that before coming to Christ, I felt like I had to be in a relationship. I could not just get out and be single for a while and then be in one. I had to like hop from one to the next because I felt like I just had to have a man. So I was not about to go and leave my ex and there be nothing going on, and I was just gonna feel like empty. It's like, oh, I need love. Anyway, yeah, I was silly that way. So yeah, that's what went down. That's where I left that story. That's where I left that dude. That was the last time I ever communicated with that dude. Last time I saw him was one of the days, you know, that he was still around at Wits in lectures and everything. Yeah, that was it. The assignment, we did it, we submitted it, we got an A, and we moved on, you know? I developed some pretty nice friendships with some people in that group, and, you know, we went into the sunset together for the next couple of years. We were hanging out, we were peoples, we loved each other, we studied together. Yeah, so a lot came out of that whole meeting thing, but one person that did not stay in my life out of that whole equation was the one that I wanted to be in my life, and I was okay with that. I moved on, and I imagined that was it. Oh, there was a time when I bumped into him, 2010 World Cup. No, was it the 2010? Yes, 2010 World Cup. MTN gave out a whole bunch of tickets to go to, like, what do you call this, matches, because they were sponsoring the World Cup. And I saw him at Soccer City. Right? And at that stage, I'd already moved on from him. I'd already, like, I was no longer interested in him or whatever. I bumped into him coming, like, we were walking, we were leaving. The match was over at that stage. It was finished. And I see him. He was by himself. He was walking by himself, but I suspect he was going to go and join people that he was there with. And then he recognizes me and he calls me Lerato. He's like, Lerato. I was like, it's Karabo. He's like, oh, sorry, my bad. How are you? I'm like, I'm good. And I let him go. So for me, it was like, okay, he couldn't even remember my name. This guy's not interested in me. He doesn't like me. He's Will. Either he's gay or, dude, there was just so much evidence of him being gay. But if he was straight and somehow keen on hanging out with gay guys all the time, he was not interested in me. And whatever it is that I caught from him was a mistake. I misinterpreted, and I let it go. I let it go because, you know, it was not gonna suffice. Like, I was not that clingy girl. Like, really, I knew how to take a hint, and I took it. I took a hint. I took a hint, and that was it. That's where that whole story ends, or at least I thought so. That guy, out of all the men that have slapped me with all different kinds of weird witchcraft, has been among the most prominent in my dreams, and I have not mentioned him because of the fact that I imagined there is no way. I imagined that there was no way that he would have afflicted me like that, followed me around like a tail. I can see my ex-boyfriend, why he would go out like that. I can see some dude that had a crush on me in the office going out like that. I can see someone with whom I had a falling out going out like that. But somebody that I went to, he rejected me. We had a brief run-in with each other. Like, nothing much. Yeah, I would not, like, that dude. And somebody who also forgot my name, called me Lerato when I'm Karabo. That's not the kind of person that would invest in witchcraft to make sure that a woman does not marry well. A woman does not come right in romance. A woman does not do okay. For the life of me, I do not understand what is going on, and I have not spoken about this guy out of all the other people that I've been mentioning having afflicted me with sorcery, precisely because what was going on in my heart and mind was, there's no way. He was just a gay guy that was being spazzed over by some straight chick that didn't know he was gay. And then he did what he did, basically confirming to me the feelings that he did have. So what was going on over there? I'm not really certain. What was going on over there? Absolutely no certainty. And last night I had such a disturbing dream about him. And my dreams, guys, the way that they are, if it's Korobela, if it is somebody also trying to block prospects for marriage, if it has to do with romance, essentially, there's always a lot of sexual activity involved. And I would never ever get a sexually charged dream unless the individual in question that is being implicated in that dream has actually cast a spell on me. Last night was the Lord telling me once and for all, this guy is involved with darkness and he's been busy with you and you've been ignoring it because you are using your own earthly mindset to write him off as a culprit. But he has been one of your biggest oppressors and he has never stopped looking at you. He has never stopped looking at you ever since 2010, 2009, 2010, because the World Cup was in 2010. That's when I saw him at Soccer City. So that can give me some kind of a timeline date stamp. Yeah, this man, it's 2024, 14 years later. Like, it's 2020, is it 14? Yeah, 2010, 2020, 2024. It's 14 years later. And he is still pursuing the situation. And it's like, but why? Why me? Let's move on to the next part. I wanted only to have one part, guys, because it's me working in these wee hours of the morning. But I'm going to just unpack this for you so you can understand what I think was going on over there. The only thing that I can speculate was going on with that human individual. I almost called him gentleman because there's nothing but there's nothing gentle about him. Let's move to the next part so that I can explain what I speculate.